Hello, everybody. This is a special live stream, a short one to talk about the fact that Julian Assange is free, or at least is quite close to being free. This is video just taken yesterday of him getting on a plane in London. He's now on a flight to the Mariana Islands, where he will go to a U.S. district courthouse. And they say the only thing left is for that judge to approve his plea deal. And then he will head to Australia, his home country. And, some people are saying it's not over yet. He's not out of the woods yet. I'm basically going with what WikiLeaks says and what Stella Assange has said and others, that he is free. I'm gonna trust WikiLeaks on this, that they know what they're talking about. But WikiLeaks has also posted that all eyes should be on the flight that he's now on. Here's a flight tracker that they posted. Julian Assange is not out of the woods yet. Monitor flight VJ199 as it carries the WikiLeaks publisher towards U.S. territory, the Mariana Islands, that is. Because, the U.S. just owns a lot of places around the world, because why not pretend to claim all these places? But anyway, so he's headed to the Mariana Islands. This is, assuming all goes as planned, this is massive news. We have fought for this for years and years, you and me and so many others. And 12 years. I mean, 7 years locked in essentially a 1 or 2 room Ecuadorian embassy, and 5 years locked in the highest security prison in all of London, all of Britain. And it's amazing to actually see it. This is a photo of him on the plane headed to the Mariana Islands. It's tough to just celebrate. Like I for those of you who are able to do that, then I say absolutely do it. Celebrate this win, this rare win for activism and standing up for truth. But of course, what rushes back to me is just the years and years of fighting for this. And it's about so much more than just Julian. And I'm sure he would say the same. I don't know whether he'll be speaking to people much after this. Maybe he just wants his privacy. I don't know. But I imagine he would say something similar, that this is not about him. It's never been about one person for me, this ongoing fight that I've been a part of for 12 years. It's about the depravity of the U.S. empire, which includes Britain, the immorality, the moral bankruptcy. It's about the depravity and the uselessness and the cowardice, immense cowardice, of not just the U.S. government, but of our media, of Western media, as they threw one of their own, in fact, a better journalist or publisher than they've ever been, as they threw him to the wolves, because they'd rather keep their cushy propaganda jobs than dare speak up for one of their own who was being tortured for 12 years. And having his life destroyed. And of course, his life has been destroyed in so many ways. His health, his mental health, the fact that he hasn't seen his kids grow up for the past, I don't know how old the oldest one is, 7 years old or something. Of course, all of his life savings, his life work with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks does technically still exist, but if you go to wikileaks.org or whatever, it's they haven't posted anything since about 2021. There's still amazing documents there that are important to see, but they're not, as far as I know, doing really new work. This might be part of the kind of backroom agreement that they can get him out if they stop doing new work, or it might be that because of all the propaganda against him and against WikiLeaks, people just don't leak to WikiLeaks anymore. I don't know. I'm not privy to those details, but it's just, I think back on these years. I've been in so many and spoken at so many protests for him. I was in Stockholm, Sweden, moderating an event with his father. I was the one on stage with his father as we did an interview and a Q&A for John Shipton's film that came out. I've interviewed Stella, his wife. I'm friends with people who are friends with Julian, even though I've never met him. But George Galloway and Chris Hedges and others. But it's just so many years to watch as this man was just torn limb from limb, metaphorically, crucified. I called it the slow crucifixion of Julian Assange in an interview with Chris Hedges a few months ago, or a year ago, actually. And Chris then, I thought it was very cool. Chris then used that as a title for an article soon thereafter, because that's what it is. It is a crucifixion in that it represented, so much more. But yeah, he is free, it seems. There's a few pieces that still need to be completed. Obviously, he's not in Australia yet. One of the proudest things I've done is I created that with artist Lucy Dyer. I created that poster of I don't know whether I can find it here, but I created that poster of Julian Assange that was then seen around the world at various events. But basically, I asked Lucy Dyer to create it, and then we promoted it on Redacted Tonight, and then it was shared via my website for free. And I'm glad it became a rallying cry for people, and they were holding it up at protests, etc. But it speaks to, the Free Julian Assange, Jail the War Criminal, speaks to how insane it is to arrest and torture a journalist, to lock him away for 12 years and destroy his life as much as possible. And to me, again, he represents the absolute disgusting depravity. I don't mean he does. I mean his circumstances represent the absolute depravity of the U.S. empire. What the extents they're willing to go to crush a man and an organization that revealed the truth, because that shows how much they don't want us to know the truth. The real things they went after him for were the State Department cables, revealing how our State Department works, the threats, the bribery, the extent that the State Department goes to manipulate other countries and other people. The State Department cables was a big one. Of course, collateral damage video that showed the U.S. war crimes. And again, in terms of how corrupt it shows our media is they, in every article they ever mention Julian Assange, it should say immediately he revealed U.S. war crimes. He revealed the absolute disgusting nature of the U.S. empire, that they're willing to kill innocent people without a second thought. That's what should have been the second sentence in every article they ever wrote about Julian Assange. And instead, most of the time, they would just leave it out. And if they mention it, they would say, oh, he revealed the collateral murder video. And you have to also remember that this is a man who worked with these journalistic outfits until the U.S. empire decided it was time to crush him. He worked with The Guardian. He did extensive reporting, or they used his articles for the New York Times, for the Washington Post, for all of these large scale media outlets. And then the moment the U.S. empire turns on him and decides, oh, no, it's time to crush this man, to destroy his life, to make sure he can never speak again. Once the U.S. empire did that, we saw all the fucking cowards, all the fucking little media cowards scurry away like roaches when the lights are turned on. Fucking pathetic pieces of shit. And it just reveals, his situation reveals so much. And it's been going on for so long. And again, this is a win for activists and for those who have been fighting for his freedom for so long, for 12 years. It is a huge win, but I feel so numb because it took so fucking long. And this is his video from his plane window, which he hasn't seen outside of prison in 5 years. So I'm sure this site must be something to him. And then, of course, the fact that the only way he's able to gain this freedom is via a ridiculous plea deal where he pleads guilty to whatever terrorism charges they've got him for reporting the truth. Nothing he's ever reported has been false. Nothing WikiLeaks ever reported has been false. Not one word of WikiLeaks had ever been proven to be false. Ever. And I always like to point out, compare that to your mainstream media. Even the shit they acknowledge is wrong when they retract something, when they apologize for something. Even just that is 1,000 times more than WikiLeaks ever did, because WikiLeaks never got something wrong. But of course, then you add in there everything they don't retract, all the lies that they consider the truth. And I know this is all over the place, but it's been such a fight. It's been such a fight. And I hope he's able to live somewhat of a normal life now. I don't know how much this has done to his mental health, and where things stand for him in that regard. But so many of you fought for this for so many years. So many protests. I can't even count the number of protests that I was either at or spoke at. The British Embassy, outside the Justice Department, Randy Credico's show, who's been doing a hour-long radio show every week, I think it is, for years now, called Julian Assange, the Countdown to Freedom. And the events, the one we did in New York with Cornel West and Roger Waters and Randy Credico, the protests outside the Justice Department with Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream. Ben Cohen was getting arrested, and then it was a crazy thunderstorm that soaked all our camera equipment. Code Pink's efforts, just and I know you look at this and you go, well, Biden did this for election reasons, so it's not really about the activism. But don't give Biden don't give him any credit for this at all, because for one, there's apparently it was the Justice Department's decision, and they claim it was not the president's decision. But either way, let's say it was. It doesn't fucking matter. Don't give him any credit, because you've got Julian Assange was first locked up at the Ecuadorian embassy because he knew they were going to arrest him. And it was quite obvious, because later they dragged him out of the embassy to arrest him anyway. So he was absolutely right. They were going to arrest him. So we know that was the truth. So don't give Democrats any credit. That was under Obama when he was first locked up in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years. That was under Obama. Obama first brought these bullshit, ridiculous accusations against him. Then and it was Obama pressuring Sweden to continue their ridiculous accusations, even though leaked emails have showed Sweden tried to drop it multiple times. It wasn't rape allegations; it was allegations of not using a condom when you're saying when you say you're using a condom. Apparently, that's and I understand why, but that's illegal in Sweden. But they tried to bring those charges. They had no evidence of it. They couldn't prove it. And then they tried to drop the charges several times and then were pressured into bringing back those. And actually, it never was charges. Sorry. Even as I break down how insane the persecution of him, even I forget to mention how insane certain aspects are. There never were any charges. It was an investigation. And they kept trying to drop it. And the U.S. kept saying, no, bring it back, bring it back. And they said, there's no evidence. It doesn't matter. Just keep persecuting him. Anyway, that was under Obama. Then under Trump, you have the CIA planning to assassinate Julian Assange, planning to either kidnap or assassinate him. That was under Trump. That was Mike Pompeo, the CIA, etc. Then under Biden, you have continued persecution. They continued every step of this extradition process. They had a chance to drop everything, and they never did. Biden, for the past 4 years, 3.5 years, and his administration has been the only reason Julian Assange has been in that prison. 3.5 years. So don't give him a goddamn shred of credit. Of course, what Biden and Obama and Trump did to Chelsea Manning as well. But so Biden allowing for this insane plea deal where Julian Assange pleads guilty to terrorist charges. And I know I'm going to talk about this later. I'll have my regular live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern today, like normal. And I'm sure I'll mention some of this again. But he had to plead guilty to this, which I absolutely, if I were him or I was anyone advising him, I'd say, yeah, plead fucking guilty. Just get out of there. Get out of there. They're not going to let you out without you pretending to admit that you committed terrorism. But one of the most insane things out of all of this is that never report anything wrong, but also, or incorrect, informed us and the world as to how the U.S. empire actually acts and actually behaves behind closed doors. And if you want a legitimate elections ever in the world or in America, then you should want the truth, because we're supposed to be an informed citizenry. We're supposed to have that information. If we don't have that information, we're not actually voting on a reality, are we? And so that's another aspect of how insane this is. But then perhaps the most insane aspect of the charges against him, the indictments, the persecution, everything, is he's not an American fucking citizen. He's never operated in America. He's never had anything to do with the United States other than revealing the truth about the United States, which he also revealed the truth about many other countries. So this was not like some sort of I'm going to get the U.S. action. He actually revealed the truth about many, many countries. And of course, that's why so many of them wanted to kill him. But acting like he's responsible for U.S. laws, like he needs to act like a U.S. citizen, is unhinged. It basically says that American laws, whatever the U.S. government says, applies to not just everybody around the world, but even every journalist around the world. If you reveal something we don't like as a journalist in another country, never been a citizen of the United States, not operating in U.S. company, then you are responsible for our laws and you will be locked up. Anyway, I know it seems maybe weird to have anger on a day that should be about celebration. And again, as WikiLeaks says, everyone should continue to watch this flight, watch that this flight arrives where it's supposed to arrive. Because, and this is part of the reason I don't think this is actually a trick, is because he's got a representative of the Australian government with him, because he's an Australian citizen. He's obviously this is being filmed and allowed out to the public, the footage of him. And I think that is another reason that you can verify that this is uh, real and not some sort of trick by the US government. I don't think they'd be letting all this information and all this footage of him out if they were planning on black bagging him or something. But yes, I agree. It's not over until he's in Australia, and even then, it's maybe never over. But WikiLeaks says Assange is free, so uh, I'll I'll go with what WikiLeaks says. And yeah, someone's telling me to cheer up. Like I said, I know it's weird to be kind of angry and numb to see. It's just because his freedom reminds me how long this has taken. That's why. And so I do. I celebrate for Assange. I celebrate for his family. I celebrate for all of you who fought for this for 12 years. But the anger is about the fact that they've crushed so much of his life. Even if he were not, even if he didn't have mental health problems at this point and trying to get his life together and all that shit, even if he didn't have all that, even if he walked out right now and he was just back to his regular self from 12 years ago, even if that were the case, they still stole 12 years from him. And it also reminds me, as some of you commenting in the comment thread, of how many other people and truth tellers' lives they've destroyed and they continue to destroy. Aaron Schwartz is no longer with us thanks to this depraved, awful government and the absolute sociopaths. Um, People are mentioning Leonard Peltier, Mumia Abu-Jamal, these other political prisoners that the U.S. has continues to have locked up. What they did to Chelsea Manning, the fact that Snowden still has to be on the run, and I'm sure will never set foot in the United States again, and always has to be looking over his shoulder. This is what they do to truth tellers, to those trying to bring you enough information to actually know what your government is doing and how they behave. Okay, well, I should wrap this up because I'm going to bring another live stream to you at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I'll bring you more information about Assange. Someone's mentioning Seth Rich should be added to the list, quite possibly. Michael Hastings. Okay, but I'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And for those of you who this is the first time you've ever seen my stuff, then I just know I do these 4 days a week. This is a rare one in the morning, but normally 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, 4 days a week. And I hope you'll be there. I hope you'll join me and keep fighting, and let's celebrate the freedom of Julian Assange.